Hi, I'm Chef Tom. I'm a professional chef. I've trained all over the world. I've learned all kinds of culinary secrets, and now I'm going to teach them to you. Welcome to Culinary Secrets. I'm Chef Tom. Today we're doing Italian pasta. So this recipe I'm making for you guys today is the exact recipe I used when I was in Tuscany. There's a couple things different about it, but we'll talk about that right now. So I have here as my flour. Now when I worked in Europe, we had a flour that's like a double O flour. And if you want to go out and buy that, that's fantastic. You can probably find it at any of your fine Italian stores. So if you don't have that, I use all-purpose flour. All-purpose, you can find it in your grocery store. That works so great. I have extra virgin olive oil. I have 8 eggs and 5 yolks. So let's get started. When I make this dough, what I like to do is like to have all my wet ingredients first. And the reason behind the wet ingredients first is I can add the flour in slowly and let it take just as much as it needs. Olive oil. That's a 1/4 cup olive oil. So now what I want to do, this is 2 pounds of flour, and the interesting thing about flour, different times of the year, the flours can absorb different amounts of the flour. So I'm going to start with about, I'll start with about 3/4 of my flour. What I want to do here is I want to mix it so it just comes together. You know, you have the other form where people actually, the old Italians say they make this big mound of flour and put a hole in the middle and they'll fill with eggs and oil. If you want to do it like that, that's fantastic, nice way to do it. But what I tend to find is that when people start doing that, there'll be a little hole in the flour and everything go everywhere. So if you want to do it that method, do it in a bowl, but I think this is the easy way to do it. So now I'm looking at my dough and it's taken all the flour with no problems. But just a quick second here, I'm going to take this out. And the reason I want to take this out is I want to finish it by hand so I know it's absolutely perfect. What I find when people start messing with this, if you're doing it in the machine, you tend not to think about it too much. You might be talking on the phone with your friends, you might be having a drink or whatever you're doing, and it can get over kneaded really quick. But if you finish it by hand, very rarely will you over knead it by hand, just because you're actually working it. They get tired probably also. So what I'm going to do is take some of the flour, put it down on the table, take my dough, put it right on top of that. And right now, the dough is very, very sticky. So sticky, again, like with all my doughs, you put your finger on it, it sticks to it when you pull it off. We want this dough to be tacky, but not sticky. So a little more flour on top of this. Now, when you start kneading this, you probably don't see what I'm doing, but what's actually happening here is I'm picking this up, pushing it down, picking this up, pushing it down. I'm flipping this every single time. And what I see a lot of people do is they'll knead here and here and here. So this part will be kneaded and this part won't. So we'll avoid that by flipping this around. Again, what I'm looking for is tacky, not sticky. So what do you think? Is it ready? It's not ready, or we don't know it's ready yet. This is the biggest thing that people have a problem with. You gotta open this guy up a little bit. Here's where you test. You test outside. I can make it extremely wet and put enough flour in it, you're not gonna notice it. But here, that's a test. So a little bit more. Okay, so again, I wanna test it. The way you test it, open this up. It's tacky but not sticky. So we want to do this, we'll wrap this up in saran wrap, and we're going to let this for about 20-30 minutes to relax, and then we'll start making pasta. So there's a couple things I want to talk to you guys about before we actually start making the pasta, or rolling out the pasta. And one of them is, if you start messing around with this dough and your hands get all covered with this moist mass of dough, don't wash your hands. Take flour on them, rub it off, save a lot of time. Trying to wash them off with water is a nightmare. The second one's actually even more important than that, is when you go to make this dough, you'll notice I gave you the recipe of 8 eggs, 5 yolks, 2 pounds of flour, 1/4 cup extra virgin olive oil. Again, that's been pounding my head because I made it so many times in Tuscany. Remember, I'm showing you technique. Remember, you put the wet ingredients in first and added dry to it. As it turned out, this only took about 75% of the flour, about 1.5 pounds of the flour. What we're looking for to make sure it was done was tacky, not sticky. So remember the technique and not the recipe. So let's get started with the pasta now. So pasta always needs to be covered. So when I take this out, I'm going to take a little piece of this pasta off. Now, this is a restaurant style pasta roller. You can probably find one at your local store for about 30 bucks. Not this size, of course. You get probably at the 6-inch roller. But no matter what, they're all the same. A couple things you have to think about when working with this. One, don't ever put these things in the washer. If you put this in the dishwasher or you wash these things, there'll be a bucket of rust next day, so make sure you don't do that. Second thing is, in here, you've got the rollers. Now the rollers, you can't see over here, but there's a knob over here, which kind of turns this back and forth. And what the knob does, it opens and closes the rollers. No matter if you have the big one or small one, it all works the same. On this particular one, when it's set to 10, it's wide open. Some go the opposite way, but don't worry about that. So first thing you want to do is open your pasta machine all the way open, and we want to start rolling. Now before you start rolling, you want to get some bench flour down, and I'm gonna kind of work this just a little bit. It's a little bit soft. If you don't have enough flour in this, you put it through rollers, it sticks to it, man, that's a bad day. The way you get it off of there is you can take a knife and scrape. What I always find the best way is to work a little bit of piece of dough, a little bit of flour in it, and work it through with a new dough, and the new dough sucks up the old dough. So I moved the pasta over here so you guys can see it a little bit better. So I put it through once, and again, I put it through on the largest setting. Again, this is number 10, but I put it through 1 or 2 times. Now, this might not be necessary to do each time, but right now it's still kind of soft, so I want to tighten this up a little bit. One more time, and I'll be all set with that. Now you do this only when you start the dough. Sometimes you see people trying to do it all the way through the process. This is only to start it. So when you roll this, fold this up like I'm doing right here, the pasta, it's to make it a little bit stronger, a little bit tougher, and you only roll this and put it through the machine only in the beginning. If you do it a little bit later on, you screw it up. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. Okay, so now the dough is got a nice firm consistency, and I think it's absolutely perfect to go. And remember, you can find these recipes and more at cheftom.com. So bringing this down, I go 2 numbers at a time. If you have a smaller machine, you might go 1, but I'm gonna jump this guy through. And when I drop the numbers down, or when I make it smaller, the wheels get tighter, it makes this longer. Drop it down again. Okay, so when you mess with this still has a decent amount of flour on there, so the pasta is pretty good. Sometimes you have to add a lot of flour all the way through this process. This one looks like it's going fairly well for me. All right. Again, the dough looks good. I'm gonna drop it down 2 more, just a little bit. Okay, so now it's getting much longer, and I'm gonna drop this down 1 more time. I'm gonna stop this at number 1. Number 1 for this machine is absolutely perfect for fettuccine and capelling, which we'll be doing today. Actually, it's also good for raviolis too. Sometimes, if you like it a little bit thicker, make it a little thicker. Not such a big deal. Just making sure there's a little bit of flour on here. Okay, so it's now at 1. I'm gonna take this. Make a lot of pasta. Okay, so I have my pasta, 3 sheets. All right, now I'm gonna turn it into fettuccine and capellini. Now, one of the funny things with pasta is everyone thinks it should be really nice and long, but in reality, if you make the pasta really long, it's really hard to eat and kind of troublesome. So let me show you to get this done. So what I'm going to do is take my sheets here. I'm going to actually cut them into small pieces. And you'll see why in a second. Okay, so this here is called a pescatar. Love this thing. And what's so good about this makes it so much easier for actually cutting the pasta in smaller shapes. When you use the cutters on the machines, they tend not to cut all the way through, but this one here gets it perfect every single time. So what you want to do is take your rolling pin and just press down and make sure it's all the way through the wire. Once it's through the wire, you can kind of back this up and push this through. Once you have that, flip it out, form it. Now, something really interesting about this pasta is you really want to get this in the freezer as quick as possible. If you make this, you leave it out, what's going to happen is it's going to all shrink down and stick together, which would be a really bad thing to happen. So on this pan, I have a little bit of flour on there, just keep everything from sticking. It's kind of actually fun. I prefer it this way. When I teach people how to use this machine, they go crazy for it. And it's quite easy to find. I think it costs like $25 to $30. I actually saw one at Sur La Table for like about 30 bucks. So that's my fettuccine. Let's flip it over for the capellini. So as you can see, same step as the other side. Take it out, drop it down. Okay, so now I'm going to drop this in the freezer. I'll be right back. Okay guys, so now we're about to make Alfredo. Alfredo is probably one of my most favorite sauces, Italian sauce that are out there. But something we had to do first. Now I noticed on my boiling water here, and when we're making a pasta dough, there's no salt put in it. So it's really essential that you put salt in the water, and you want to make it taste like the sea. So you might think this is a gross amount of salt, but it's just about right. There you go. So getting the sauce started, again, this is the American version of Alfredo. This is a very heavy sauce compared to the Italian sauce. Italian sauce is pretty much just Parmesan cheese and pasta water, makes emulsification and holds together. But you know, here in the United States, I want a nice, thick, rich sauce, so we do it this way. This heavy cream has a little bit of a personality. If you walk away from this for a second, or you go to answer the phone, this thing will boil over. Or if I stop watching for a couple minutes, this thing will go crazy. So keep an eye on it. What we want to do is kind of do a process, put on and off the flame, so it gets nice and thick. Sometimes what you find people do, they'll actually put an egg yolk in here to kind of help thicken it, but I like reducing it down. I like the flavor a little bit better, so that's how I'm doing right here. So here it goes. It's getting ready to go crazy, so watch it. I'll start adding my cheese in here, get this a little bit thicker. A little pepper, hold off on the salt. A little more cheese in there. Now the sauce is ready to go. I'm gonna get the pasta. Now this fresh pasta cooks really fast. So as you can tell, pretty much by the time it hits there, it's cooked. So to finish this, all I want to do is take this pasta, drop in the sauce. Now what's really important to do, once you have the sauce, you want to get the sauce cooking in the pasta. You know, you don't want the Olive Garden kind of pasta where you have the pasta with sauce on top. You want to make sure everything's mixed in really, really nice, make it nice and tasty. You might even let it sit on the heat for just another minute so it gets all cooked inside there. Okay, so now plating this pasta, what you want to do is pick it all up, you know, put it down, give it just a little bit of a turn. That way, as you see, it has a little bit of height on it. And put the rest of the sauce on top of it. Now, some people might say, oh, you know, chef, I think that's too much sauce. But I think that's just about right, because what I usually do, what I really enjoy with my pasta Alfredo, is I enjoy taking my bread and something sauce. So there you go, there's fettuccine Alfredo. Time for the next dish. Alright guys, so now we're going to make a really classic sauce. Again, this is a Italian sauce. We kind of Americanized it a little bit. This would be a clam sauce. I'm going to actually make it a white clam sauce today, but I'm going to tell you all about this. So to start with, I want to take a little of my oil and add my garlic in here. Lots of garlic. So again, I want to start by sweating my garlic. This will take a couple minutes to get the flavor up, but it's be absolutely worth it. You know, traditionally the clam sauce is white, which means it's pretty much just clams, garlic, oil, and clam juice. But we're gonna mess around with it today. We're actually making a white clam sauce by adding some heavy cream to it. That's more of the American style. I like things heartier. So drop my garlic in there. Get my clam juice in there. Now, clam juice is the same juice that came with the clams. You don't have to buy anything separate for that. And I'm going to add a little of my heavy cream. It's almost like a miniature New England clam chowder. So what I'm looking to do here, so I want to reduce the sauce just a little bit, make it slightly thick. If you want it thicker, reduce it a little bit more. You want it thinner, you can probably go the ways now. Now, one of the things that's really kind of cool about this sauce is it doesn't need much salt. But the reason it doesn't need much salt is because there's tons of salt in the clams itself, so watch the salt on this. I don't usually add any salt to this, and it's just fine for me, and I like a lot of salt. You can pepper it up, of course. And if you want to put different herbs in here, that's fine too, but I'm keeping this kind of on the simple side right now. Okay, so the sauce is where it's supposed to be at right now, so I'm going to turn this down just a little bit, and I'm going to drop some pasta. Now, finishing this, I'm going to turn the heat off this guy. I'm going to drop my clams in, You know, the clams are already cooked, so all I just want to do is heat them through. So now all I'm going to do is taste this for salt. A little bit of salt, a little more pepper, and parsley. For some reason, people love to see lots of parsley in their clam sauce. It makes people happy, so I'll put it in there. All right, so the pasta's cooked. Turn this on just a little bit. Drop my pasta into the sauce. And again, I'm gonna cook this just for a couple seconds just so I get all the flavors into it. And I really like this sauce, and what I tend to do is put a little bit extra sauce in a bowl because people always love taking their crispy Italian bread or French bread and soak them sauce with it. So this has a little extra sauce, but that's the reason why it does. So again, I'm gonna pick this up, put it down, give it a little turn, and I'm gonna drop the sauce on top of there. There you go, that's my linguine clam sauce. Hope you enjoy it. So my last sauce of the day, I'm going to be doing pesto. This is the classic Genovese pesto made with basil. So getting this started, I'm going to kind of do it more of a traditional way than most people do. And you know, if you have a food processor, knock out your food processor. I'm going to do it this way. So one of the things you want to do for the modern pesto is you want to take this, kind of roll this up, and I want to kind of chiffonade this. The chiffonade was actually in our skills video, so you can watch it again there. Give it a little chop. So, if you don't know what pesto is pretty much a sauce that's made with your basil, your pine nuts, your Parmesan cheese or Mountain cheese, your garlic, and your olive oil. So what I want to do is I want to turn this into a paste. So to start with this, I'm going to put my garlic in here and just go ahead and give that a, you want to kind of pulverize that. When you're actually pounding, try to look inside the mortar and pestle, because what happens is sometimes it'll splash up in your eye. When I was in Thailand, that accident actually happened. I pounded down, I got a chilly in the eye. That was kind of a bad day. So I want to add some pine nuts in here. And again, kind of just pound these guys up. I'm going to add some of my cheese. Kind of hit this up a little bit. I'm going to add my basil. I'm going to add a little bit of my oil in there to kind of help me smooth this out. So I'm going to give this a little taste. Remember, this is really rustic. I'm not trying to make this as smooth as I do in the food processor, but okay, that's perfect what I want to do. Okay guys, now remember, this is a very rustic pesto. A lot of the pestos you probably see are created much more than this, but again, this is modern pesto. This is how it's usually done, so I'm sure you enjoy it. So I'm going to take my pasta, drop this in. Again, remember, have the water nice and salted. As soon as the pasta floats to the top, it's all set. If you have any questions, say, hey, how do you do that at the restaurant? Let me know. Send me email. If I put you on the show, I'll send you a t-shirt. Okay, so now I want to take the pasta, drop it in the pan, and I'm making sure I get some of this pasta water in there. And I want to drop my pesto on top of here and just kind of stir this stuff up. So now I'm going to plate this up. Again, take the pasta, Swirl on top. Nice little sauce there. I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of Parmesan. Put a basil flower in it. Okay, there you go. So that's gonna be my rustic pesto pasta. Hope you enjoy it. All right, guys, that's for the show for today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoy making these shows. I really get a big kick out of it when you guys send me emails, tell me what you want to see. Remember, you can follow me on Facebook. You can look me up on Chef Tom. And remember, all these recipes and more you can find at cheftom.com. Happy cooking. Hope to see you again soon.